Would you like to learn about business architecture? If so, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Mike Gibbs, and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Careers, and I've been all kinds of architects for the last 25 years. Network architects, enterprise architects, business architects, you name it, I've had all the roles and I love them all. And in today's video, we're going to discuss what is business architecture, the key benefits of business architecture and why it matters, and the key components of a business architecture. So, what is business architecture? And if you are a management consultant, this is your job. If you're an enterprise architect, this is going to be a critical component of your job. And quite frankly, if you're any other form of IT architect, you really should understand business architecture. Business architecture is kind of a discipline, if you will, that helps define and analyze the components of a business. And a business architecture will provide a comprehensive view of the business, looking at its strategy, the business's structure, the business's operations, even the business's governance. And when we create a business architecture, the goal here is to get a good understanding of the business the way it is now. And we need that as a management consultant, and we need it as an enterprise architect, because our goal is ultimately to better optimize that business and strategically align that organization's people, processes, and technology. And the creation of that current business architecture, or how the business works, is going to be critical to understand that business. And ultimately, we will have to get that business to a future business architecture to get them to their long-term strategic goals. So the reason we focus on business architecture as management consultants is because that's what we do. And the reason we do it as, say, enterprise architects and cloud architects is related to exactly what we do as well. We're guiding that business through a strategic adoption of the people, the processes, and the technology. So the point here is the alignment. It's also the business's agility. We have to, anytime we create any form of an architecture, make that business more agile. What happens if interest rates go down? What happens if there's a recession? What happens if there's a new disruptive technology, say generative AI? We have to be able to integrate that easily into the business or adapt to those changing environments quickly. And if we understand the business and we've modeled it well, we know where our levers are in places where we can actually tune it. It gives you that clear and holistic view of the organization structure and its organizations, and it improves communications across that organization because it enables us to get our stakeholders involved and giving them a common framework and a common language to communicate with each other to make sure they all work and develop a cohesive strategy for that organization, as opposed to, say, just their business unit or department. So now you know what's the point of the business architecture. So we may also use it for some other reasons as well. We may want to provide some form of strategic planning for the organization. We may want what we call a transformative architecture. So an organization is currently using some form of process, some form of paper documentation and paper processes, and we want to make it optimized with the use of technology. That would be called, say, digital transformation. We may look at an organization's processes and realize there's a lot of inefficiency somewhere, and we can optimize that by optimizing the business architecture. And that's why we're doing these things along with risk management perspective, because if we can look at the business holistically, we can look at the risks and potential risks that exist out there, and we can guide that organization to manage them. Maybe they transfer their risk to an insurance company. Maybe they mitigate the risk, but we need to understand what everything is before we can do anything. So what are the key components of developing the business architecture? There are many, and we'll talk about it. The first component is the business's strategy. What is the vision for that business? What is that business's mission? What are their long-term goals? And we have to look at that business's key objectives and goals. Maybe there's specific targets, a certain amount of revenue they need to hit this year, for example. But we need to know what they are. And of course, we need to analyze the organization's value proposition, or what is it that the organization does that makes them valuable to their customer? Do they have the best piece of technology in this? Do they provide some form of help to their client? Like maybe they're consulting, but how does that business make money? What is it that they do? And ideally, what is it they do better than anyone else that's out there? The next component of the business architecture is the business's capabilities. We'll begin with the core capabilities, and they're going to be the essential functions that really differentiate that organization. So, for example, it could be just a process. You may find one restaurant that can do things better, faster, and cheaper than another, and it can be just related to the process. Or you can look at Walmart, for example, which was able to provide cheaper prices and almost always have things in stock because it used some of the best technology to optimize the supply chain for their particular business. It could also be related to a supporting capabilities. There may be key functions in the business that are going to support that organization's key competencies and key capabilities, and that's critical to know so we know how to support them. And often when we look at the business capabilities, we carry it with some form of a capability map, and that would be like a visual representation of the organization's capabilities and the interrelationships. What is the interplay, for example, between sales and marketing? That's what we're really talking about here. Now, the next component of the business architecture is the business processes. How does the business do things? How does the sales process occur? What does the customer journey look like, for example, from the time the customer enters to the time they purchase something? And we need to map this out. There's lots of options. There's process models like the function process model, and that's going to be, say, a diagram that represents the sequence of events inside of a business. We could look at process flows, for example, the flow of tasks necessary to complete a business process. User enters a website, they click something, they sign into the website, they click something, all of a sudden they purchase them, whatever that may be. And the other reason we want to do this is because we want to optimize those processes. When we really analyze the way businesses do things, we may find that they're not doing things in the most efficient way. They could be losing sales. They could be not providing the right service. They could be spending too much money. And when we look at that, the business processes, we can optimize them. Now, the next key component of business architecture is the organizational structure. What's that organizational structure look like? The arrangement of the roles, responsibilities, and relationships inside of the organization. Who's the CEO? Who's part of the C-suite? Who reports to what? That sort of thing. And sometimes we have to divide the organization into functional structure. So maybe, this business unit does this and this business unit does this. So that would be one way you could do it. And sometimes we would use like a matrix structure, which gives us a combination of functional and project-based roles. But it's all about just understanding the business, its key processes, and the people that are inside it. Now, we also typically want to look at information and data. In today's world, data is a key component to business. So we may want data models, which represents the way the businesses use data. We might want information flows. How does information flow through the system, for example? We may want to look at even data governance, which are going to be the policies and procedures for managing data and data integrity and data security. And these are all critical functions in today's business. When we look at the business architecture, we really get a good understanding of who are the key stakeholders. Who are those people that have a stake, for example, in the business? We could have internal stakeholders like managers, employees, and executives. Or we could have external stakeholders like suppliers or customers or partners, regulators, or other external entities. And we need to identify them as well. Now, also, we're going to have, say, business rules and policies as another key component. There may be some rules for the business or guidelines or constraints that govern the business operations. We may have some formalized policies and procedures for how the business gets conducted on a daily basis or how something will occur. One of the last key components to look at is performance metrics. How does that business define success? Because we don't know how that business defines success. What are we designing for? Whether it would be an enterprise architect, a cloud architect, or a management consultant, what is the customer's goal of success? We still need to know. So typically we've got to look at some key performance indicators there, which are metrics that the organization will use to define success, and then we can measure them. Lots of businesses use something called the balanced scorecard, for example, and that's another form of strategic planning and management that's typically widely used. It's also widely taught in, say, MBA programs. So business architecture, realistically speaking, gives us that structured approach to understanding and improving an organization's operations because it helps us align the organization's people, its processes, and its technology. It helps with strategic planning goals. It helps businesses optimize their efficiency and helps businesses adapt or be more agile to changes when they occur. If you want to learn how to become an enterprise architect, a cloud architect, an AI architect, or a security architect, join us for one of our free webinars. There's many to register for, and they're all free in the description of this video. And if you're looking to build your architecture career, there's lots of free resources also in the description of this video. Maybe go check them out. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell to be notified of new videos to help you in your architecture career. This is Mike Gibbs signing off for now, and I look forward to seeing you in a new video. Take care.